Hi, everyone. Welcome to Raise the Vibe. I'm in the studio today with Amy Huggins, and we're going to be discussing music, Mends Minds. Enjoy the show, everybody. Thanks for joining us. And remember to like and subscribe if you want to continue to hear Raise the Vibe. Hello and welcome to Raise the Vibe. This is your host, Liz Peterson. Today in the studio, I have Amy Huggins, and we're going to be discussing music, Mends Minds. Amy, welcome to Raise the Vibe. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Liz.
Great. So why don't you go ahead and tell the audience a little bit about yourself to get us started for those listeners who don't know you.
So I have lived on Vashon for since 1993.
Great.
And I grew up in Illinois with a family that had 3 children and 2 parents and grandparents right next door. And then I stayed there until I went to college at Denison University in Ohio, and then worked for Continental Cablevision, which was a cable TV company.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that about you. So I'm going to learn about you today, too.
And then went to graduate school at the Kellogg Graduate School of Management at Northwestern University to get a master's in marketing.
Great.
Worked after that for an ad agency in downtown Chicago called Foot, Cone, and Belting on all different kinds of marketing accounts, and then was hired by a headhunter to go work at the American Dairy Association instead.
Oh, interesting.
Coordinating generic advertising and marketing for things like cheese, milk, butter. So you might remember campaigns like cheese, glorious cheese.
Oh, I do remember that. Was that you?
Well, I helped get that together.
That's so fun.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I know you as a yoga teacher. You teach at Vashon Athletic Club.
Mm-hmm.
So how did you get into that?
So I got married when I was working at this American Dairy Association with my husband, who had grown up on a surfboard in Los Angeles, basically.
Fun.
When there really were orange groves in Orange County.
Oh, that's fun.
And he really wanted to come back to the West Coast because we had a 2-year-old daughter at that point, and thought the schools were better, and he had a family here. So we moved to Vashon.
Wonderful.
In 93.
Right.
And I had left that business at that point and didn't work for a while because he was working full time, and then thought, maybe it'd be good to go see a massage therapist because I feel a little stressed. And she said, have you ever tried yoga? And I was like, no, but I'm interested in it. So I went to Julie James, who was a teacher here a long time ago.
Okay.
And just got really interested and asked Julie, do you have any books about this or some more I could learn about it? And she started giving me all these books about yoga philosophy and anatomy and all these kinds of things.
Wonderful.
And then she said, you really should go to a school of this because you're asking way too many questions. So I interviewed different Seattle-based yoga schools and ended up going with the Yoga Tree in Fremont and getting my certification there in 98.
Okay.
And
is that a vinyasa flow?
It's a studio that teaches hatha yoga primarily.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So that one was really rooted in philosophy and the different postures or poses called asanas, to learn about what are all the different ways to prop them and the alignment issues and provide safety, in the room. And then I apprenticed underneath another teacher named Joe Levenweller, who was in Queen Anne for 6 months. And that's where I got completely hooked on it because I could see how it changed this young man who was coming to Joe's class over 6 months from a deformity he had into better alignment.
Oh, that's beautiful.
It's really amazing.
I love your class. You're a great teacher.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so we're here to talk about Music Mends Minds. So tell me, how did you get into Music Mends Minds and what is it?
So this is music, and Mends is MENDS, MINDS. And I got into it because my husband, when he was just 58 years old, got diagnosed with early onset dementia.
Oh, sorry.
And my father died of Alzheimer's over a 10-year period from age 70 to 80. So I knew the progression of the disease.
Right.
And I just thought, I need to do something to lift up my husband because he was a microbiologist by training and very smart guy. And so being diagnosed with that really sent him into depression and denial and all kinds of negative emotions.
Right.
And we all know that music can lift people up
Yes.
instead. So a year after his diagnosis, we were watching the PBS NewsHour at night. And here was this piece about music Mends Minds, showing the original band and sing-along group called Fifth Dementia.
Oh, what a cute name.
So they were based in Los Angeles, and I got their contact information and said, Alan, let's go check this out, because our daughter was living in Los Angeles at that time also. So we flew down to LA and visited her, and then we went to see the Fifth Dementia at the Brentwood Presbyterian Church.
Oh, fine.
And here was the founder, whose name is Carol Rosenstein, with her husband, Erwin Rosenstein. And she started it in 2014, just the year before that, because she found out that her husband, who was a retired attorney, but also an amateur piano player, that every time he sat down at the piano, it was as if his Parkinson's symptoms completely disappeared.
That's wonderful.
And she thought, what's going on?
Yeah, fascinating.
So she went to UCLA, to their Neuroscience Institute, and they did PET scans and fMRI scans and started looking at other volunteers from the Parkinson's Association, Alzheimer's Association, realized that music does much more to light up areas of our brains than any other activity, including chess or Scrabble or reading or crossword puzzles or even aerobic exercise, anything. Because of the different centers in our brain that react to emotion and memory and the rhythm and the melody, and all these different areas of our brain light up. So it doesn't matter if you're listening to music or playing music, you still get essentially a full body workout for your brain.
Gosh, that is amazing.
So here I was at the Brentwood Presbyterian Church in Los Angeles with my husband and my daughter, and there was another man outside of Erwin who was on the keyboards who played harmonica. And his wife was sitting near me, and she told me that he can't speak any longer, but he speaks through his harmonica.
Wow.
So I started really listening to Sam to see if I could hear what he was saying through his harmonica. And then their rehearsal or jam session was over on a Tuesday afternoon. And so we got up to leave, and Sam started walking down the aisle behind us, three of us. And I felt like he was saying, this is such a great thing, this music really makes a difference, kind of thing like that. And I started crying because I was just so touched by seeing the difference it made to all these people making music together, singing and playing instruments. They were coming alive, and there was just absolute joy on that stage. So I came back to Vashon and went to the Vashon Rotary Club, which I had joined in 2013, and asked if they'd be willing to make this a community service project. And they said, absolutely. We don't do anything to support seniors right now.
Oh, so gosh, that's great.
Mends Minds is a music therapy project, essentially for anyone who has dementia or Alzheimer's or Parkinson's or PTSD or vets with other symptoms or stroke victims. So we now work through Rotary International, which is a global organization with 1.2 million members. You might have not known that.
No, I didn't know that.
And promote this through Rotary to reach more and more seniors through centers like Vashon Community Care Center. So now on Mercer Island, for example, there's an Aegis location and also Covenant by the Shores, where they run Music Mends Minds twice a month.
Great.
But we do it right here on Vashon now all the way since September of 2015.
Wow.
Every Tuesday at 1:30 to 2:30. An hour of singing and playing music and hand instruments. We just did it today.
Great. All right, everybody. Every Tuesday, Vashon Care Center.
Vashon Community Care Center,
right.
1:30 to 2:30.
Great. That's fantastic that you're reaching out. So how many people are you having show up? Is it popular?
It is popular. I mean, all these years since we started it, we're looking at over 4 years. But like today, we had about 35 people. We have people from Vashon Community Care who are always there. We have people who are with private caregivers that they
Oh,
bring,
wonderful.
they get brought in.
Great.
And then we also are partnering with Ashland Elder Care. You might be familiar with.
I'm
It's
not. Could you tell me about that?
Wonderful program that's at the Lutheran Church twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays, where you can bring as a caregiver your loved one who has any of those diseases I mentioned, those neurocognitive diseases, and for just $55 from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. have quality care for that person.
Gosh, that's wonderful.
That's
what a great
so
price.
much more affordable because
Yeah.
I know that, you can pay $25 or $30 an hour.
Yeah, easily.
Yes, for a registered nurse or even LPN
Mhm.
come help.
And what about your program on Tuesdays? Is that free to the community?
It's free, and just today we started singing Christmas music
Oh,
because we're
wonderful.
going to have a Christmas sing-along concert on the 17th of December. So we need a few weeks to get ready.
Right. And where is this going to be
And
on
this is
December?
going to be again at Vashon Community Care Center, but at 3 p.m. We're trying to move it a little bit later in the day because we normally meet at 1:30,
Right.
so that families might be able to attend
Oh, nice.
also.
Great. Can you share some of the stories from today, possibly?
Yeah, it was because we were just getting into this Christmas music today. It was really fun to have people get into ringing our handbells because we were singing things like Jingle Bells and Hark the Herald Angels Sing and things like that.
Oh,
And
nice.
so, it's Silent Night. So they were just like playing these handbells. So you could hear this little ding, 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 all over the place, which was really great.
And handbells are beautiful. Are they the same ones in the Methodist church?
No,
they
different.
Okay, different ones.
Like little tambourines.
Gotcha. Still fun.
Yes, still fun.
And good vibrations for everybody.
Carolyn Candy, who's one of the persons who works for Vashon Elder Care, she was doing rhythm between two sticks.
Oh, fun.
And Kathy is a woman that's always there from Vashon Community Care Center. She's German background. And she had a couple of favorite songs from the songbook we were using up till last week, where we go, she likes to sing along, follow, 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 in this Try to Remember song.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. This is our kind of stuff. And sing Hallelujah. So today, when we were singing, we sang a couple Hallelujahs, and I'm like, Kathy, that's Hallelujah. She's like, oh, yeah. This is her hand. But it's interesting how many people don't even speak anymore and yet can still sing.
Can you explain that, how that works? That's really fascinating.
Actually, there isn't very good science to explain that currently, but it's possible that it has to do with the way that it's stored in so many different areas of the brain, because our ability to voice and to speak and pronounce words is in one center of the brain. So maybe because it's spread so far around the whole brain.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe that's it.
Gosh.
I really don't know exactly why.
I think it's just amazing that someone that cannot speak anymore can still sing.
It's true.
I can't wait for, people to start investigating a little bit more and doing studies and tests to see, why. I'm really curious about the why,
So the great thing about Carol Rosenstein in Los Angeles, whose husband Erwin now has Parkinson's and dementia, but anyway, she has just made phenomenal connections also through her website with people all over the world. So Dr. Mary Middleman is a neuroscientist at NYU who already had a choir group for dementia and Alzheimer's and Parkinson's patients. But she didn't realize that Mends Minds had gathered all this research also showing the benefit of music. So Dr. Middleman decided to do a double-blind study to do before and after brain scans so they could see the difference. So that's happening.
Wonderful.
So we'll be able to get that.
And what about during?
Probably early 2020.
Is she doing any research during, instead of before and after?
Well, they're trying to do the before and after to show if there's any memory improvement.
Right. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yes.
To see if doing singing, is actually making a difference cognitively.
We know that it lifts people's moods.
Yeah.
They're much happier. You can just hear it. Like Renata is another person who's at Vashon Community Care Center, and she just effuses how much she loves this program. She goes up and hugs all the musicians afterwards.
Oh, that's fantastic. A big thank you after. That's great. I bet that's really rewarding for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is.
To be doing this.
What a huge difference it means.
Right.
People.
Do the people at Vashon Community Care look forward to you being there on Tuesday?
I've had Kim, another person there, tell me that he schedules this whole week,
Wow.
which is really impressive.
That is very impressive.
Really impressive. But we know that also it helps some people get off of medications because unfortunately there aren't effective medications for Alzheimer's and dementia currently.
Right.
And if it's just being treated with Prozac or other kinds of antidepressants, that just is singing and making music together to come out of isolation and make this music together lifts people's mood so much that sometimes they can decrease the medication.
That's beautiful.
And also,
that's incredible.
It's helped people who have problems walking. You may have seen Parkinson's patients with a problem with
the shuffle.
Gait. Yes, it helps them walk.
God, that is fantastic. That's impressive. So how did you get invested in Music Mends Minds?
I got invested in it because of what difference I saw that it made to people and the caregivers who really appreciate that lift that they see in their loved one. And then I also see what difference it makes to our volunteer musicians. They really feel the difference that they can see in front of them. Cool. People light up so much. So do you know Pamela Gott?
I don't.
Oh, she's a violin player who plays with the Vashon Chamber Orchestra. We just had a great concert like a week and a half ago. Great. At the Vashon Center for the Arts.
We have so many beautiful things in town happening all the time, and more these days it seems. Right. So when I first moved to the island 9 years ago. So Pamela plays every Tuesday with Music Mends Minds also on violin. Oh, great. And then Rich Osborne is another Rotarian friend of mine. He is a guitar player. He also sells Rich's salts and olive oil at the Sunday market. Okay. That's right. We're all so diverse on Vashon. Truly. And then Ina Oblinger also plays ukulele there. Oh, fun. And Patty Custer plays piano and ukulele. And Tony, I'm sorry, I forget his last name right now, plays piano also. Tony Mann? Yes, thank you. Great. Yeah. I know him. Yes. Right. Cool. So what type of benefits are, they not only getting, but seeing, while they're volunteering to do this for the community? The musicians really feel the connections between each of them together to produce this music, and they really see how much enthusiasm and joy is coming from people singing these songs, and how they clap afterwards and talk about the music and ask questions like, who wrote that? Nice. Yeah. Really rewarding. So what benefits did you see for your husband? Right. Unfortunately, Liz, there were some great benefits for Alan. Oh, I'm sorry. He'd grown up with a very negative, critical father, and it was as if the neurocognitive disease of dementia triggered that even more. So he became very critical of almost everything in life, it seemed like. So he would go to Music Mends Minds with me, but then he'd be critical of the songs that we chose to sing, even though we were doing Beatles music, which he liked, right? But it wasn't the quality that it should have been, like in that recording, just like every layer you could look at that wasn't quite right. Yeah, we could only hope that while he was being critical, that he was getting some benefit, underneath it all. Cool. So with other people that you're working with, on another hand, what are you seeing? Do you have any individuals, that you would like to spotlight? A couple of stories about them and the benefits that they're getting from coming, on a weekly basis. Well, what I've really seen, Liz, is that since Alan passed away in 2016, I've reached out after grieving for a while to more Rotary clubs, and I really see once they launch also how palpable it is for them also. Like Randy Schneider started Music Mends Minds in Tacoma with the help of Lutheran Community Services about a year and a half ago. Okay. And they call their group the Unforgettables. Oh. And Jeff is a music director that they've hired with funding help from Lutheran Community Services. They just tell story after story of the difference that they can see that it makes. And Jeff has a marimba group in Tacoma that he coordinates also. And so he has different musicians coming from that marimba group to perform and play with them. Right. Yeah. And then John Nelson's on Mercer Island.
and he leads sing-alongs, and he's just been singing all his life, so he just loves doing it anyway. But
And how did he hear about it?
Through a presentation I did at his Rotary Club.
Gosh.
Yeah, so same thing with Randy Schneider. I went to the Puyallup Rotary Club, and with John Nelson, I went to the Mercer Island Rotary Club and talked about it.
Thank you so much for being a pioneer for this area to bring music, Mends Minds to so many people. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful, heartfelt, compassionate mission that you're on right now to do this for everybody.
I'm do it in my husband's family.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Gosh, that's beautiful. And what benefits for yourself? What is this bringing you? This passion that you created since your husband's passing.
It gives me purpose and meaning in my life, because I know that unfortunately there's no cure for Alzheimer's or dementia or Parkinson's. It's been known about this disease since 1906. Dr. Alois Alzheimer's, who did the brain autopsy on somebody who was exhibiting strange behavior.
Right.
1906. So do not have a cure all these years. Well, we basically didn't even know it was a brain disease. Aunt Nellie was just senile or silly or whatever.
Right.
As soon as we got these brain scans about 15, 20 years ago, they started using them to look into people's brains and realized these diseases cause brain atrophy. They shrink the actual size of our brain. They break apart the neuronal activities. They kill us by choking off breath at the brainstem itself.
Wow.
So they're lethal, but we didn't know that. We just thought, it was a heart attack or it was pneumonia or something else that killed that person. So there's a real push to try to figure out how to cure these diseases. But the problem is there's been millions of dollars poured into all kinds of drug trials. But you and I and every person has a blood-brain barrier in your body that helps flush toxins and keep flu that you get in your body out of your brain.
Out of the brain.
So the problem is that every time that they've been able to get something strong enough across that blood-brain barrier, it causes brain inflammation rather than cure.
Oh, that's so unfortunate.
They're looking at maybe ultrasounds or maybe genetic cures. There's all kinds of other avenues.
I know a lot of research is being done around frequency, not just music itself, but using tone and frequency to heal the body and the brain. Have you looked into that at all? Because there's a lot of research being done around that as well.
Yeah, I haven't looked into that. Maybe you have some insight in that area you can share.
Very little. I know it's happening. I breezed through a couple articles myself. It's really fascinating. And it triggers the brain and the brain waves and stuff like that. But unfortunately, I don't know enough to speak on it. I just know it's happening. Cool.
Yeah, so the bad news is that death from heart disease and cancer is decreasing. You and I probably know people who had breast cancer and are still alive, or have had heart attacks and are still alive, which is great.
Yes.
That we can survive those, but at the same time, death from Alzheimer's and dementia and Parkinson's is increasing very rapidly.
Yeah.
2000 to 2017 increased 145%
Wow.
in 7 years, whereas death from cancer and heart disease decreased 80%.
Gosh.
So it's really, they're calling it a silver tsunami.
Yeah. Do they have any idea, why? Is it environmental? Is it something else? Do they have any clue whatsoever with all these studies that they're doing as to why there's such an increase?
I think it's very complicated because these diseases also affect people that have diabetes.
Right.
Yes, and have poor heart health. It's a whole body disease. Your brain controls so much of your body's functions and intuitions and feelings and all of that. It's so complex. So I don't know. I mean, there are books. I was just looking at a couple of Alzheimer's prevention books.
Right.
And they talk about things that you and I would already know this, like making sure you get a good night's sleep rather than having a lot of insomnia, and making sure you eat a Mediterranean diet, with healthy grains and fruits and vegetables rather than a lot of red meat.
Right.
And that you get aerobic exercise. That's another thing that's up there. And that you have social interaction. People who isolate have more dementia.
Really?
Isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
Yes, because we humans need connection.
Yes.
And I thought with my husband too, it's like the more he got into his disease, the more isolated he became. He
Wow.
couldn't relate to people, so he didn't want to be
So
around
it just
people.
fed the problem.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
And did they recommend anything else? You know, since we're talking about the recommendations from the Alzheimer's book that you read.
Stress.
Yeah,
Trying
reducing
to
stress.
de-stress. Yeah, he was tested for his cortisol levels, which you might have heard of.
Oh, yes.
Yes, that fight or flight.
Yes. That wonderful thing that makes us gain weight around our abdomen. Yes.
It has to do also with
Mhm.
chronic versus episodic stress.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can live in it, and I think that's one of the parts of the problem when the diagnosis from my husband at that early age was that, being a scientist by training, he was like, oh, I can see and feel the losses as they come. So that was
Interesting.
super debilitating and frustrating and depressing for him. So stress, there you go,
Right.
really builds up. That really adds to it as well.
Gosh, that's quite unfortunate.
Mhm.
So, going through this with your husband, can you map out stages, or have you read in books where as they're fading, as it's getting worse?
So the Alzheimer's Association now knows that there's a perfect bell curve. When we are born, we learn to speak and toilet and walk and learn and grow and all those things. And it's the exact bell curve reverse upon the decline of Alzheimer's and dementia and Parkinson's patients. They will lose the ability to talk, to toilet themselves, to walk. It's the exact same.
Just in reverse.
In reverse.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Gosh, the progression.
Right.
But unfortunately, the other complicating factor is that each person's progression is quite distinct, it turns out. Like
Can you
there is
describe a little
another
more?
kind of dementia called Lewy body dementia. I don't know if you've heard of
No, I
that.
haven't heard of that. Could you explain?
Yeah, it's really difficult because that's where people who have dementia at night start feeling like their dreams are absolute reality. So they'll get out of bed and fight that monster or attack that person that's outside the glass window or attack their partner, or they really think that their daydreams and their night dreams are absolutely real. So they
Wow,
become
how fascinating.
Yes.
Gosh, how interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so
not having a true grasp on reality, it sounds like. What is real and what's not, what's dream time and what's real time. Wow, that would be frightening.
Very frightening.
And are they aware? Is that something that they're aware of and can be cognitive about?
There were some
that's
friends
happening?
of ours in Florida. Unfortunately, this happened within 3 years of this couple getting married.
Wow.
So this is really sad.
Oh, that's tragic.
And he was very cognizant. He was like, I have Lewy body dementia, and I'll wake up at night and I'll slam into the glass door window because there's somebody outside there. He was just convinced that that's what was actually happening, and his wife's just going, there's nobody there. So
yeah,
just really, really hard.
Wow. It sounds like, that hypnagogic state, that between delta and awake, that in between state and being stuck there. Wow, frustrating.
Mm-hmm.
Gosh,
one of the first things that most people experience with dementia and Alzheimer's is a loss of short-term memory. You've probably heard that.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So that they are living in some ways in longer-term memories. Mm-hmm. So it's progressive.
Right. So it starts with the short-term memories and then goes to, could you give us some examples? I know nothing about this. I only know my grandmother passed. She had Alzheimer's right at the end, but it was very brief and right at the very end. So I know very little.
Yeah, it can be caused by a heart disease event, even.
Wow.
Or a stroke can kick in Alzheimer's. Isn't that wild? Wow. Right. I'm sorry, what did you ask me again?
The progression. If you knew anything more about the progression, from the beginning, being short-term memory loss, where it goes from there.
Right. Yeah. For people aged 50 to 65, it's lethal within 5 to 7 years. For people aged 65 to 100, it's lethal within 10 to 20 years, which is just the opposite of what you would think.
Right.
but that's the way the disease works.
Right. And I'm sure with the, research that's going on, do they know why? Why it is so quick earlier in age?
I think it has
That's
to
so
do
tragic.
with
That's so
how
tragic.
active people's brains are in that 50 to 60 time period of their lives.
Wow. You'd think it would be the opposite.
You would think it would be the opposite.
Right? Because we're so active, in our 50s and 60s still, that I would assume, that it would extend my life a little bit longer. But wow.
It's just much more progressive, much more.
I had no idea.
Legal. Yes, and unfortunately, they also know now that more women than men die of Alzheimer's and dementia, irrespective of the fact that they live longer. So there's a neuroscientist being funded by Rotary. The Cure Alzheimer's Fund is a Rotary-funded Alzheimer's research arm.
Yay, Rotary.
Yeah, and they're looking at that question under Dr. Rudolph Tansey, who's in Boston. He's gotten all the records from National Institutes of Health and looking through genetics, because they know now what are the genetic markers that you can do through a study called 23andMe.
Oh, I've done that. Yeah.
And APEO3 and 4 are the two genetic genes that shove a male into the expression of Alzheimer's and dementia and Parkinson's. That's scientific.
Wow.
But Tansey is finding that it may be different for women.
Oh, different for women.
Only in his first year of the research, but there's already, as of March of this year, there's already some good scientific research that's showing it might be different genes for women.
Fascinating. Are there any other differences that they've been picking up on between men and women?
Young and old men.
Yeah.
Not that I know of.
Yeah. Is there anything that you would like to discuss or prompt, for me about, what you're learning while you're running Music Mends Minds and working with the Rotary Club to spread this and get it going in more areas?
Rotary is divided into what are they called districts. So there's a group of 56 clubs all around the Seattle and Tacoma area, which are part of a District 5030. And they have district meetings and they have district trainers to help Rotary clubs be more effective at what they do and bring in new membership and develop new projects and all that. Right. So the great thing about Rotary is that Music Mends Minds gets funded by our local Rotary Club, meaning that they pay for the printing of our songbooks and tuning of our piano and the music stands that we use and the materials that I take out in the field to promote Music Mends Minds.
That's wonderful.
So Rotary just did this June a Blues and Brews fundraiser. I don't know. Heard about that? But
I did hear about that. I didn't make it.
Yeah, very fun. And we made quite a bit of money between that and between the strawberry shortcake booth that we have every year at Strawberry Festival.
Oh, great. So, I didn't realize that was Rotary that ran that. That's fun.
Yeah. So we're taking that and funding 8 community projects that we were, we solicited and came in from nonprofits all over Vashon. But we always have a pot of money that whenever we raise it, that serves Music Mends Minds too.
Wonderful. What other projects does Rotary do? You said they did 8 projects in and around Vashon.
One was that we gave the Dove Project money for phones. You might have heard that those women that are domestically abused need to have safe ways of getting a phone that's separate from their partners. Yes. We funded that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for doing that.
You're welcome. We funded also some help for the veterans right down here in Sunrise Ridge. Yes, I don't know if you know that Mike Mattingly and some other vets are creating a center for vets on the island.
That is wonderful. I just spoke with Ryan. I'm forgetting his last name right now. Ran into him on the boat, and he was saying that, that's going, and he's a part of that. Now, we actually, 800 vets on Vashon Island right now? It's amazing.
So we're funding a workstation for them to have essentially tools and table equipment that they can use to build things. to learn new
Great.
skills.
Awesome.
So that's really good.
Yeah, that is really good.
Yeah, and we put funding also into what's a great initiative, I think, is that they're going to revise the Over Park playground. I don't know if you
Really?
have heard of
No,
that.
I hadn't heard about that.
Well, Catherine Swearingen, who is the director of the Senior Center on Vashon Island,
Mm-hmm.
has been working with the Park District because they want to update that equipment anyway. But apparently there's all these new playground kinds of equipments that are good for ADA and senior citizens also to get out and get exercise and play games outside and do things like that too. So they're going to revamp that whole playground.
Gosh, that's awesome. And make it easily accessible to everybody of all ages. That's fantastic. Yeah, it has the one path that goes around, but that's it. You know, there's nothing really more than that for anyone else but the children. Yeah, that's really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
And we also funded some things that can't be seen, like installation work that we're going to do at Mukai Farm and Garden, because that's an old house and it needs insulation.
Yes.
So all kinds of projects that give back to our community.
I saw a project just recently behind Vashon Care Center. Was Rotary a part of that, you know, making that trail?
No, they weren't, but I'm just so proud of the land trust.
Yeah, that is amazing. Yes. Oh, because the land trust, yeah, what a beautiful project for them.
Yes.
That's
Abel
great.
Eckhart, who's their land steward, designed the trail.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, and I was there at the ribbon cutting
on
Sunday. And it's really nice. I don't know if you know the Shingle Mill Trail at
all. I love Shingle Mill Trail.
Well, this hooks in to the Shingle Mill and also has a brand new view spot that's stunning over a canyon.
Awesome. I can't wait.
I highly recommend it.
Great. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anything else Rotary is working on locally, you know, that you want to share with us?
Yes. We know that all people on our whole globe are concerned about global climate change.
Yes.
So this year, starting this summer, we've implemented that one of our presentations every month. We usually have 2 presentations a month. We meet, I should explain, we meet 4 times a month on Thursdays for lunch at Chautauqua School.
Oh, great.
And in the summertime, we met at different restaurants on Vashon just to get out in the community more.
Fun.
But so the 3rd presentation every month is on global climate change.
Great.
So we just recently had a presentation by Impact Bioenergy, which is the company that set up the anaerobic digester at Island Tofu.
Oh,
have you heard of this?
No, I haven't heard of that at all.
This is so cool, Liz.
Yeah, share that with us. This is exciting.
So Island Tofu produces food waste.
Yeah.
As do many restaurants on Vashon Island.
Yes.
And Impact Bioenergy already has anaerobic digesters in Seattle at Microsoft and at King County Waste.
Oh, great.
So they brought one to Vashon for Island Tofu to take the waste from producing tofu, and the output is methane that can be used to drive trucks.
Yes.
As well as a fertilizer.
Wonderful.
Yeah,
wow, that's
so
fantastic.
They're all excited about it.
I bet.
Yes. Yeah. It's anaerobic like your stomach is. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
You have microbes in your stomach, in your gut. So that's the same principle. This is an
fantastic.
Anaerobic digester for food waste.
How fun.
Like, totally cool. Right. And this Thursday, we're having Daniel Pop, that's how you pronounce his name, Pop, from Spark Northwest.
Oh, what's that?
And that's a nonprofit, actually, that promotes green solar energy all around the Northwest.
Wow, that's fantastic.
Really cool.
Yeah, you guys are really into some cool projects and information bringing to Vashon.
I want to give people think they can actually do. You know, like when we had that anaerobic digester discussion, we had 32 people at that lunch meeting.
Wow.
It was at Sheffield Building because people wanted to walk over and see it afterwards. And people were saying, "Can we put this in our neighborhood? We can do community solar already.
Yeah.
Why couldn't we do a community anaerobic digester?" And they were like, "Absolutely. You know, you'd have to get this funding. That's how you have to feed it and take care of it." And
wow, that's fantastic.
So it ignites ideas.
Oh, I'm so glad that Vashon's a pioneer in so many of these great projects. We're really blessed here in Vashon. Cool. Anything else you want to share with us? Well, why don't you go ahead and tell us about your Tuesdays and then the upcoming things you have.
Right. So we meet at Vashon Community Care Center for Music Mends Minds. Our group here is called Island Rockers. Every Tuesday.
Oh, that's awesome.
from 1:30 to 2:30 p.m. We're going to have this holiday party on the 17th at 3 p.m. That's another Tuesday at Vashon Community Care Center.
17th of December.
Everybody's welcome. December 17th. And then we'll have a Valentine's sing-along that everybody's welcome to come to also. And I don't know the date yet. I think maybe the 11th of February.
So you have things brewing for 2020.
Yes.
Wonderful. Great. Anything else that you have, on the horizon for Music Mends Minds, or anything else, that you're doing for the community?
I have gone to 2 international Rotary conventions, one in Atlanta and one in Toronto, promoting Music Mends Minds. They're also Carol Rosenstein. Those are awesome because there's over 40,000 people that go to those from all over the world. But I'm not going this year, but Carol will be going, the founder. So that's exciting. She can go.
Great.
I had a lot of success just this last year promoting Music Mends Minds. It's what's called a district project. So once I got nonprofit status for Music Mends Minds in Washington State, in addition to California, then I could apply for this to become a district project. And that means that then it gets better awareness and funding within our whole district. There's another really interesting district project called Music for Life, run by a Rotarian named David Endicott.
Okay.
And that is where he gleans instruments from people's closets and from Seattle Symphony and chamber groups, and gets them refurbished by music stores in Seattle, and then he gives them to school districts in Shoreline and all over the North Seattle area.
Wow.
So that they can give them to children who want to be in jazz bands or orchestras, but can't afford an instrument.
God, that's awesome.
Actually, maybe you don't know the Vashon Events loans instruments out on
Yes,
Vashon
they have
too.
a music library. Yeah, so if
Really
anybody is
great.
looking for an instrument for themselves or their children, Vashon Events has a great instrument library there. You can check them out for free and test it out, see if you like it. And it works on your brain at the same time. I know. It's never too late to start, right?
Yeah, definitely never too late to start.
Great.
I mean, that's one reason I'm in Vashon Chorale also, because it's a great
Oh,
way
are you?
for
Wonderful.
me to sing. Yeah, we're having our holiday concerts on December 7th and 8th at Vashon Center for the Arts.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
I tried that for a couple of days. Wasn't my cup of tea. The music was intense. I'm like, oh, I think I need to practice a little bit more before a little bit too much bit off there for me. But the music is wonderful, and it's going to be great this year, guys. So definitely get out there and check out the chorale. The music is fantastic. Let's see. Any other things you have up and coming you want to share with our audience?
I teach yoga twice a week. So we spoke about yoga.
Yes.
At the Vashon Athletic Club on Wednesdays and Thursdays from 10:30 to 11:45. I also teach meditation every Monday night at Gather. That's the art gallery next to Urban Bloom. And that's at 5 o'clock on Mondays. And everybody's welcome to come to that. And that's free also. And it only takes about 30 minutes. And it's a calming and centering meditation.
Okay. Could you describe that a little bit more for everybody?
Yeah, we do 2 different meditations. One called Serene Mind, which is a great tool for anyone's back pocket because it's only 3 minutes long.
Oh.
And it connects us into the emotions that we're feeling. So one of the things that I've talked about with, my friends is how when we were growing up, nobody talked about emotions. No. I mean, it was like, pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Yeah.
You can't be an emotional child. But our emotions are connected to our thoughts. And we have over 60,000 thoughts a day, and 80% of those are repetitive. So why not become conscious of that hamster in your brain? So this way of connecting into the body is to become aware of those emotions arising right now and how that connects into the thought process. And from that, opening up into peace and calmness.
Beautiful.
So that's Serene Mind. And then Soul Sync is another really great meditation to take us through a methodology that keeps us present. So one of the things people find when they start to meditate is that it's noisy up there. Yes. There's so much stress going on in the head that you become aware of. It can make you feel more stressed to meditate.
It does sometimes. Like, aware of it. Oh, why can't I turn this off? Next. Scooting them off as the thoughts come in.
Right.
Right.
So this soul sync is a great practice to give people all the tools to be able to calm that mind again, keep it focused. It's like training a bright bicep, training your brain to stay in one place rather than darting 18 different places.
Right. What are the tools that specific meditation uses in order to calm the mind?
It uses touching of the finger pads. So we do 8 breaths, which is that symbol of infinity, as you know. And with each breath, touching the finger pad. And that helps also with what's called proprioception. As you get older, you may not be as aware, but you bump into things.
Yes, I started doing that at the restaurant. While I'm at work, I'm like, what? I knew that chair was there.
And this helps rebuild proprioception so you don't bump.
Oh, good. Yeah. I'll start doing that on daily.
Right. And we also incorporate humming practices.
You probably have heard of like
Om, the humming practice in yoga often. Yeah, so humming practices also promote relaxation because it dislodges nitrous oxide from your sinuses, and that produces an automatic relaxation effect in the body.
Ah, fantastic.
Yeah. So, and letting people really connect in with what's deep in their heart. Really, really want to know, rather than stressing about it. To create it from what we want in life, from a spaciousness and a calmness and a clarity, rather than from that stress state, from that anxiety, that irritation, that frustration.
Gosh, I bet that's really beautiful. As soon as you just said that, what do you want? The energy in the room just kind of settled down and it was very calm there for a minute. So I know that your class on Mondays, and that was 5 o'clock at Gather, that would be just beautiful. We actually have 15 minutes. Do you want to walk us through maybe the 3-minute meditation possibly for everyone? Sure. I think that would be fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
great.
This comes from an organization in India, actually, that's called O&O Academy. So this was started a number of years ago by 2 people who really made it a school of transforming consciousness.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And then their son, Krishnji, has taken it over with his wife, Preetaji, and they have a daughter, Loki. And they're doing a fantastic job of bringing it out of India and into the world. So there's a wonderful app you can get on your phone called the Breathing Room. And on that Breathing Room app are the Serene Mind and Soul Sync meditations that I just mentioned. And
great.
Free. And you can also send all those meditations real easily to anybody that you want to. It's got all the icons there, to send to. Yeah. So that's great. So, and they also have a new book out called The 4 Sacred Secrets. And it's a bestseller on Amazon. Oh,
someone was reading it in the restaurant yesterday, and I snapped a picture of it so I could grab it. It's on my wish list right now.
And then they're also bringing courses to America. So this is really exciting. You don't have to go to India to transform your consciousness.
Great.
Yeah. So they have the Beautiful State course, which is going to be on Vashon on the 11th and 12th of January.
Oh, and you brought some flyers into the studio.
Yes, and it's going to be at Studio Lux, which is right downtown again near Subway area. And it's $250 for these 2 people to lead the workshop. And they're super skilled at helping people see for themselves the stress in their life and how to dissolve it.
Cool.
Not a lot of pain in this process, which is good.
That's a good thing. Yeah, especially these days. And it looks like you can find tickets on eventbrite.com, the Beautiful State Vashon on January 11th. $250. Great.
Yes.
And it says student reviewer, 150 plus fees. So someone who's done it before could get it at a reduced rate.
That's right.
Oh,
or who's
gosh, that's great. Oh, wonderful. And a 2-day consciousness game changer designed for anyone seeking greater harmony with self, others, and work. I'm just reading off the flyer right now. It sounds great. Gosh, thank you so much for bringing this up. That's wonderful.
You're welcome.
Great. And are you going to be teaching this too one day?
No.
No?
I haven't been trained to teach it like these 2 people have.
Right.
Yeah, they're just really, really outstanding teachers.
Great.
Yeah. But I really enjoy sharing the meditations on Monday nights at Gather.
Wonderful. Would you like to share one with us now?
Sure.
Great. Yeah. Thank you.
So Sit tall, dude.
Sitting tall. Everybody sit tall.
Close your eyes. And we're going to start with just taking 3 conscious breaths. So as you breathe in, you can say to yourself, I'm breathing in. As you breathe out, you can say to yourself, I'm breathing out. Just 3 conscious breaths connecting into your body. Now connecting to the wisdom inside of your gut, inside of your body. What emotion are you feeling right now? What's arising within you? It could be anxiety, or anger, or frustration. It could be calm, connection, love. It could be a mixture. Just notice. Emotion inside right now. Now notice your thoughts because they are connected to your emotions. Are you obsessing about the past or planning the future? What can you do right here, now? Imagine a candle flame burning right in front of your forehead. And see that candle flame melt into the inside of your skull. Warm, golden light. Calming, lifting. Taking a deep breath. Taking a deep breath. When you're ready to leave your eyes.
Wow, that is fantastic. Thank you for guiding us through that.
You're welcome.
Listeners, I hope you all enjoyed that. And I'm thinking that's something that we could take home with us, to practice, just if we needed a pause, just a 3-minute pause sometime during the day, or maybe if we're having trouble sleeping, we could do that short exercise, to help us calm ourselves down, calm our central nervous system and our mind down so we can get some sleep. Also, finding that so frustrating for so
If
many.
you wake up in the middle of the night and your mind is going,
Mm-hmm.
sit up in bed. Don't stay there lying. Sit up and practice a serene mind.
And why is
really
that?
Works.
What is it about sitting up and not continuing to lay down?
It's because you can breathe all of your lungs much more fully. Because your back body isn't compressed against the bed, and
right.
Your lungs are 3-dimensional. And when you sit up, you have all of that capacity.
Nice. Yeah, and it just brings you back into the center. I feel great. Cool. So that is January 11th and 12th here on Vashon. Again, that's at the beautiful state Vashon on Eventbrite to get those tickets. And contacts for that are Margaret Joy and Amy Huggins, and she has her number here as well. And if you want to share that, or
Studio Lux.
Oh, great.
Up there. Mm-hmm.
And for people who don't know, where is Studio Lux?
It's right on Vashon Highway on the same side as the Vashon Bake Shop.
Great.
A little bit farther north.
A little bit farther north.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Great. And then why don't you go ahead one more time with all the things that you have going on Tuesday and that sort of thing. Or, if anybody's interested in joining the Rotary, how would they do that? Because you guys have some fantastic things going on. I'm sure you could use some more help.
We do.
Yeah.
We're looking for new members. So
awesome.
One of the exciting things is that starting January 2nd in 2020, we're shifting all of our presentations to evening.
Oh.
Because we think that'll allow us to bring in more new members potentially. Mm-hmm. And so it's going to be at Mukai Farm and Garden.
Oh, nice.
And we have exciting cook. I don't know if you know Emily Boat.
I do.
Relish.
I love Emily.
She's gonna be our cook.
Shout out to Emily. She's awesome. Get her to cater for you.
Yeah, so starting the 2nd of January.
Oh, fantastic.
Twice a month, the 1st and 3rd Thursday nights.
Mm-hmm.
Wokai Farm and Gardens.
1st and 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
Right. And with Emily Boat cooking.
Yes,
so
yum.
Really excited.
Yeah, she's great.
Yes. And one of those will always be our climate talk too. So
oh, great. And that's the 3rd?
It's the 3rd Thursday every month.
Mm-hmm.
Climate talk. Yes.
Cool.
Yeah.
And then you have your things on Tuesdays.
Music Men's Mind on Tuesdays from 1:30 to 2:30.
Great.
Right. Yeah. So National Rotary meets currently until January 2nd at Chautauqua School, 2nd floor in their district conference room on Thursdays at noon.
Great.
So like this Thursday, it's our 3rd Thursday. So we have Daniel Pop from Sparks Northwest, like I mentioned.
Wonderful.
Talking about clean energy and solar panels.
Great.
Solar panels.
And then I also wanted to plug that other program that's being held at the church for the seniors for $55 all day.
It's called Vashon Elder Care. Yes, it runs Tuesdays and Fridays from 9 to 4. And they come every Tuesday to Music Mends Minds, and
Great.
It's very affordable.
Yeah, that sounds like a great program.
Mm-hmm. For anybody with Alzheimer's, dementia, Parkinson's, stroke.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And then anybody in the Seattle area, how do they find Music Mends Minds off island for people who are listening from off island?
To go to our website, musicmendsminds.org.
Great. And you were saying there's one in Tacoma and one in Seattle, Mercer Island?
Yes, there's currently Music Men's Minds operating in Mercer Island, in Tacoma, at a community center. I have to give you the address.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's operating also, of course, in Los Angeles, but in Toronto and in the Philippines and in England.
Oh,
at the VA hospital
awesome.
in LA and in Beverly Hills in LA and Redondo Beach in LA area. So there's
that's great. It's growing.
Bands now all over the place.
Gosh, that's so wonderful. We have a couple minutes left. Is there anything you wanted to share before we wrap it up?
Music Men's Minds is trying to do a better job at doing outreach. So they just recently had a donation to Music Men's Minds in Los Angeles of $25,000, which was really exciting.
Gosh, that is exciting. That's
so
fantastic.
They're looking to hire a music therapist because they realize with 17 different bands all over the world now that we need to set up Zoom calls or something else to keep people connected and to give them resources and find out what problems they're having and keep people safe and growing. So that's really exciting.
That is exciting.
Yeah.
What a wonderful thing to be a part of.
Yeah, it really is.
Thank you so much for joining me today. It's been a pleasure to have you on Raise the Vibe. Amy Huggins, everybody. Check her out. She's a yoga teacher at the athletic club. And then Tuesdays at Vashon Community Care at what time again?
1:30 to 2:30
to 2:30. Great. Awesome. And then also Meditation Mondays at Gather at 5 o'clock. Awesome. And a beautiful state in January, which I think I'm going to sign up for, January 11th and 12th. It sounds wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing everything. We covered so much more, than I thought. And with the Rotary and everything else, lots of fantastic information for the community. I'm really excited about our talk today. Thank you so much. And thank you, everybody, for joining me on Raise the Vibe. This is Raise the Vibe on Voice of Vashon's 101.9 FM KVSH. Thank you, everybody, and have a fantastic day. And remember to get out there and raise the vibe. Thanks, everybody. And thank you, everybody, for joining us here on Raise the Vibe at Voice of Vashon Studio on Vashon Island. And thank you, Amy, so much for joining me today. God, what a fantastic conversation. I hope you all enjoyed it. Remember to like if you liked this and subscribe if you want to, continue to get content from Raise the Vibe. Have a great day, everybody. See you next time. Bye.